So my morning routine for the past couple years has been crazy simple. You could call it minimalist. I wake up, I brush my teeth, I make a cup of coffee, then I sit down and open up my laptop. The first 30 minutes of my day are scattered. I check email, sometimes social media, oftentimes I read the news. I'm fairly unproductive until around 7:30 a.m. when my brain finally powers up and I'm ready to do real work. That's typically when I open up my notes app and start writing. Okay, but let's be real, there are a couple deviations from the rule. Like when my alarm sounds and I pull my phone into bed and get distracted browsing the internet. Or when I hit the snooze button every 10 minutes for an hour. Natalie loves it when I do that. Of course, there are also sick days, travel days, and days when I have no time for a routine at all. But for the most part, I get my ass out of bed and get my day going. While I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with my morning routine, it seems to be working just fine. I've always wanted to structure my mornings more intentionally, focusing on personal growth and my own well-being, doing something that grounds me and helps me start my day right. So I've decided to mix up my morning routine to do just that. So every day for the next week, I'm gonna be playing around and experimenting with a different mindfulness practice. I'm trying to find a startup guide for my own life. I'm gonna be using some tools I've used in the past, like meditation and journaling, but I'm also gonna be experimenting with some things that I haven't yet explored. Naturally, the first thing I did was research how the most successful people in the world wake up. Now, if these millionaires are anything like me, which, to be honest, they probably aren't, their days will vary a great deal. So take the following with a grain of salt, but here's what I found online. Kevin O'Leary and Tim Cook wake up at 4:30 or earlier every day. CEO Kara Goldin wakes up and checks email first thing in the morning. Gary Vaynerchuk starts his day by catching up on the news and messaging his Twitter followers.
The only thing that I can say that I consistently do is wake up, take my phone, and go poop.
Gary, it's been like an hour, dude. That is the fourth time you flushed so far. Yeah, I'm not gonna do any of those things. While these CEOs, entrepreneurs, and celebrities might really enjoy their morning routine, they may attribute it to success or productivity, it doesn't really feel like the right path for me. It doesn't feel like an improvement over what I'm currently doing. So I'm gonna have to think a little bit deeper about exactly how I wanna implement and change my mornings going forward. I realized pretty quickly that building a morning routine for my life was going to be just as much about the things I don't do as it is about the things I do. So the first thing I did was remove as many distractions from my morning as possible. That meant leaving my phone outside the bedroom when I went to sleep. Since I still need an alarm to wake up, I use my Fitbit, which vibrates when I need to wake up, and Alexa. 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 Alexa!
Good morning, Matt and Nat. Have a great day.
Okay, so one pro tip for those that are really bad at waking up early, using the Fitbit or the Alexa alarm might not be the best idea because it is so easy to simply roll back over and go back to sleep and turn off the alarm completely or just keep hitting the snooze over and over again. Something that I've suggested in another video is to place your phone across the room on the other side of the room. That way you have to get up, get out of bed in order to turn it off. You're gonna be less likely to pull that phone back into bed with you. Over the past 2 years, apart from a couple strong months of self-discipline, I've gotten into the habit of checking email first thing. Since doing a digital minimalism experiment a couple weeks ago that I shared on this channel, I've been committing to not checking email until 11 a.m. And I'm gonna continue to stick through with that this week. Since I've been waking up at 7 a.m. lately, that'll give me close to 4 hours of uninterrupted time to work. Mostly uninterrupted.
They see me rolling, they hating, controlling, they're trying to catch me riding dirty.
Each day I experimented with bringing in self-development practices that I've been neglecting. I started with 10 minutes of stretching. I'm getting pretty old, and even though I stay active, I rarely make time to stretch.
I can't go any lower than that.
I enjoyed it and would definitely like to make a habit of it. Each morning I lit sage or Palo Santo. I'm not very spiritual, and I'm definitely not into woo-woo stuff, but they smell really good, and it was nice to start my day with them. Next, I tried 10 minutes of journaling. I don't journal very often, and never in the morning. Bringing it to the beginning of the day didn't really change my relationship with it. Don't love journaling, probably won't continue to do it. I took a walk first thing after I woke up. This was really nice because it forced me to put pants on, but there were some other benefits as well. So I just took a 15-minute walk around my neighborhood, And I gotta say, it felt really good. It was nice. I don't remember the last time I actually took a walk just to take a walk. It's usually because I'm going somewhere, because I have to move my legs to get there. But this time, I just went outside and I walked around. I got some fresh air, a little bit of sun, and felt more energized than I typically do.
It is nice to get my body moving a little bit, to get in a few steps. I just broke about 1,000 steps, which I know is not a lot, but it's a lot more than I normally do in the morning.
Then I tried 10 minutes of meditation. After 30 days of meditating for 1 hour every day this year, I still meditate a couple times a week. I usually like to save it as a buffer between activities, like after I finish writing for a few hours or after I'm done with work for the day. It helps me to calm my racing mind and transition into a less creative mindset. I didn't really like meditating first thing in the morning, if I'm being honest. My brain is still filled with the fog of melatonin, and it's really easy for me to doze off and get distracted. Although getting distracted is nothing new to me when it comes to meditation. So the one thing that I'm realizing is that my morning walks and my meditations are a little bit redundant, because when I'm going outside, I'm taking a walk, I really feel like it is a meditative process, and it really forces me into the present moment. I tried 30 minutes of reading, listening to audiobooks and podcasts. While I enjoyed these practices and I was often inspired by them, I found them taking up too much of my mornings that could be dedicated to productive work. As the clock ticks on and our mornings become afternoons, we have less creative energy in our tanks. This is one of the reasons I've always wanted to get straight to work. I know that as the day goes on, decision fatigue sets in, and I'm going to become less and less productive. The final hour of my day is rarely the time when I have my breakthrough ideas. Before I break down my takeaways from this week's experiment and talk about my new morning routine going forward, I want to take a moment to talk about my sponsor for this week's video, Skillshare. Skillshare is an amazing platform that has a bunch of classes on creativity, productivity, and business. I just took a great class from Mike Boyd. You might know Mike from his YouTube videos where he learns new things and documents the entire process, from kickflips to muscle-ups, making fire, and memorizing 100 digits of pi in a day. In this class, he teaches the best ways to practice effectively, how to push through the dip, and everything he's discovered about how humans are wired to learn.
I've always hated the idea of being boxed in, and that my abilities and my talents were predetermined before I was even born.
I got a ton of practical advice from this class, and I think you guys will gain a lot of value from it as well. Since Skillshare is sponsoring this video, if you guys use the link down in the description, that will give you a 2-month free trial. So through this experiment, I discovered what was most important to me when creating a morning routine. I wanted to create some balance for my personal well-being, but I also wanted to get shit done. I didn't want to focus so much on these mindfulness practices that it actually took away from the work that gives me so much purpose. All right, so after a week of experimenting with my morning routine and trying different things, from journaling to meditation to taking walks, the question is, what am I going to change about my mornings going forward? Am I going to bring all this stuff in, continue to pack it all into the first 30 minutes to an hour of my day? No. You probably figured that out already, but I do actually want to make some changes going forward. And so I'm just going to read out my current morning routine. This is like the ideal morning for me right now. Wake up around 7 a.m. and brush my teeth. Stretch for about 5 or 10 minutes. Then if I haven't already, put on pants and walk around the block for 10 to 15 minutes. These walks were definitely the best part of my week and something that I want to continue to bring in the future.
I don't know, it's more tiring, the walking or holding a vlogging camera.
Once I get back and my blood's flowing, I'll make coffee, light something that smells good, and sit down to begin my work. I want this routine to help prep my mind for work, not distract from the work itself. So my goal is to start work at 7:30 a.m., where I usually write for 1 to 2 hours before moving on to other tasks. Writing is such an important part of my work, and I find this to be the ideal time to come up with my best ideas. 11 a.m. is when I check email for the first time in the day. 11:30 a.m. I'll have lunch, and then right at noon is when I'll go to the gym. I'm almost never on time when it comes to these things, so this is just a general idea of when I'm trying to get things done in my day. So will I be able to stick with this for the long run? I mean, I hope so. I'm gonna try. That's definitely the goal, but if my past is any testament to what's gonna happen in the future, I'm gonna slip up, I'm gonna screw up, I'm gonna fail, I'm gonna fall back into old habits and routines, but that's okay. I try not to get too hard on myself. These days, the older I get, the more I realize that perfection is an impossible ideal. But it's not going to stop me from trying. I'm definitely going to try to bring this into my the first 30 minutes of my day. I definitely think that getting out and taking a walk is much better than just sticking my head in a screen and absorbing myself into technology any further. So I would actually love to hear from you guys. Do you have any mindfulness practice morning routines that you follow that have really helped you out a lot? I truly would love to hear your recommendations, things that I would love to try in the future. Definitely let me know in the comments down below. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you next week.
Wait, what if we do one where it's like volume increase, and then you get up too, and you're both like, Alexa!
Yeah, we gotta do it really over the top where we're literally like, Alexa!
Alexa! Yeah. Okay. Alexa. Alexa! You missed it.
No, but
It's on 4. Alexa! All right, well, I'm up.
they see me rolling, they hating, try to catch me riding dirty, try to catch me riding dirty, try to catch me riding dirty. Well, thank you very much.
You literally look at the camera every 3 seconds.
I couldn't stop looking at myself.